Hello guys, my name is Michael and welcome to a new GType tutorial. Today we are going to move on and we are going to learn two new functions which are very powerful, very good, and once that you understand these two functions, basically you can do a lot of powerful things. The function which I am talking about are called GType set quark data and GType type set get quark data. Before we move, you really need to check if you didn't already, or if you are not sure what exactly gquark is, then you better go back and check my other playlist, the playlist where I was introducing you in 3 videos about gquarks. And of course you need to understand the gobject as well, because it is very important. It is related to the gobject set data and gobject set quark data. If you remember the way how we work with them, it's pretty the same, but instead of connecting a pointer on an object with another object with the help of a key or with the help of a quark, in this case we are going to do something different. We are going to connect an object with the help of the quark to a type. In other words, once that you make sure that you follow those tutorials and you understand what gquarks and gobject it is, or at least that you understand what data connecting means, then let us check a little bit about the story with GType set quark data. As you can see, it is a function which takes 2 parameters or arguments. The first one is a type, the second one it is a quark, and the last one it is a data pointer, which means an object which basically you are connecting it with help of identify, you see, a gquark ID to identify the data. So in other words, it is a key or a password, if you want to call it like this, which you can basically retrieve information from the type when you need to access to a particular object. So in other words, let us check how it's working. The other one, of course, is a GType get data. You get that information which you set it. Okay, so that being said, at this point I clean a little bit the program. So what do we have now? I have a window with a button, and the button it is connected. It is we are monitoring the clicked signal, and we are passing the button also adds the data by calling the gsignal connect swap to clicked callback. In other words, the clicked callback at this point it is only printing a message the button was clicked. So when I'm going to click the button, as you can see, the button gets clicked. So nothing special. Now let us work a little bit with the GType set quark data. But before we do this, the first thing which I'm going to do, I'm going to create a label, GTK widget. Now the next thing here, we are going to create a label. So GTK label new with mnemonic, whatever, and I'm going to say I don't know, let's say new label, whatever, new label, nothing special. Whoa, not there, there, new label. Okay, so now we have a label. I'm not going to attach this label to our program because you already noticed I'm not using a grid or a container which I can actually work with another child. I want to work with this label in a different way. So here is the secret. Now the next thing which we are going to do, basically, like I told you, you need to know what gquark means. So if not, go back and check the gquark. I'm going to create a quark. gquark from string, and let's say new label also. Now because the new label quark doesn't exist, it will be created this quark for us. Okay, like I said, you should know what exactly I'm doing here. Now the next thing which I'm going to do, it will be I need the type of the button. In this case, I'm going to create a type, and I'm going to call, of course, the GType from instance. You're already familiar with this one. And I'm going to pass, of course, our button. Now, because I have the type of this button, I have a type which one I'm interested in at this point. I'm going to work with this one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say G. Now is the time where basically we are calling this function. GType set quark data. So the first one will be the type. Don't worry, you will understand in a moment. The second one will be the quark, which we just created it right here. And the last one, it will be our label. So basically, what I'm doing now, I'm connecting the label with this type, and I'm using as the key the gquark, like here, like you see it right here. So this is the thing which I'm going to do. Now let us move a little bit back up here to the clicked callback function. The clicked callback function, the way you see it right now, just prints the button was clicked. So if I'm compiling and running the program right now, basically you'll see nothing. I mean nothing. You see, I'm clicking and see only the button was clicked, and that's all. Because I was only making a connection here. So now it is the time where we are going to work with this connection. So I'm going to remove this gprint right here because we don't need it. And I'm going to say gtype. And you know what? I'm going to copy this call. Basically, I'm going to call these two calls here because I know them. So I need them. What I'm doing right now, I'm basically getting the quark from string. I'm not going to get a new quark because this one I created already right here. So which means that this quark and this quark should be the same, and they are. If I just use a gprint, just call the gprint function and print them, and you will see that this is the same. So now because I have the quark and I got the type of the instance from this button, now basically we can work with it. I could create another program where I could just pass the type, but it is not the case. I don't want to complicate the things too much, but I want to know that basically this thing here, you can change it with another function where you basically pass a type, the type which you created right here, and you pass it to a function. And once that you pass to that function right here, you have the type, and you need only the quark. But I didn't create a too much complicated program. I want to rely on the clicked callback, so I was passing the button. So at this point, we can basically work with our type function. So because we have it, we have the type, we have the quark. Of course, what we do the next thing, GTK label. We're going to create a label pointer, declare a label pointer. And we are going to point in where to the GType get quark data, which needs a type and a quark. So in other words, these things which we declared here in main should match. Basically these two right here. So I'm going to pass them here, the type and the quark. Now because we have the label widget, which it should be there, I'm going to say const gchar const get label, I'm going to call it, and GTK label get label function, I'm going to call it on our label. I don't need to cast it to label because I already declared as label. And now because we have it, let's see if it's working, our plan. So G object set function will be called on our button, and now we can say the label property should be now set to the get label message or text which we got it. Of course, we need to pass null to inform the GObject set function that we are done with it. And now let's see what happens if we compile and run this program. At this point, what do we have? We have a button with a message or with a text or with a label on it, which is called clicked. Watch what happens once that I click the button. The new label is coming, you see? Now, this is the thing which I wanted to share with you guys. This is the way how you basically work with the GType get quark data and GType set quark data. This is another way of connecting things together. As you can see, you don't need always an object to create an object, basically to create a connection between an object and another one. You don't need all the time two objects. As you can see now, you just find out that you also can connect an object, like in this case our label right here, with a type. Once that you have the type, basically with the help of a quark, which you created yourself, or maybe you get it if you think that you have one, it is not important, because once that you call this function, basically it checks if this one exists. If not, then it will be created for you. You should already know that if you follow my GQuark playlist. And this is the story. So now I was choosing at this point to work with Signal Connect Swap, because it's not quite very important how you do it. Important is only that it is working. In other words, if you now, let me see, if you do now GType type, you see I'm changing now the things here. I'm going to remove this thing from here because I don't need it. Of course, we cannot set the button right now, but I'm not interested on it. This is basically how it looks like, the function which you are going to work with once that you create it. So at this point, basically you have had all that information. Once that you call this function, the click callback, of course you can give it another name. At this point you have some information. Of course this function, the gReturn if fail, is not useful anymore. So g print the label text is %s, and of course we are going to print the get label right here. So everything works fine, and it should work. Let me see, I forgot the comma right here. Let me see what happens right now. The clicker callback also needs the type. We need to pass the type, because without what I'm doing, without the type we cannot work with the. So now basically we have a function which does these things for us. I'm going to drop or to comment out the call of the signal connect function. So at this point it will be just called, and if I'm right, it will be printed the text of our label. You see, the text is new label. The new label text, it is the text which you gave it right here when you create the label. Now you know from both sides how it's working and where is helpful to work with these two, if I'm allowed to say these two powerful functions which does so much good things for you and for your applications to make them powerful and fast. Okay, that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.